The best value luxury watches you can buy in 2025. What do I even mean by that, and how do I justify using the words luxury and value in the same sentence? Here's what I'm thinking. Prices for luxury watches have been rising steadily over the past few years, and while inflation is partly to blame, finding true value, and not just in the world of luxury watches by the way, has gotten more difficult than ever. Here's an example of that as well. The entry-level Omega Speedmaster, the one with the nylon strap and what Omega call Hesalite crystal, in 2025 costs $7,000. And this used to be a popular $5,000 watch just before COVID-19. And I get that over the past 5 years, the movement has evolved. There has been some technological upgrades and of course, natural inflation as well. But that's a 40% price hike from the pre-COVID price to what the entry-level Speedmaster costs today. And for $7,000, I don't think the entry-level Speedmaster does justice by any means. It's not a value offering, and certainly I wouldn't recommend this watch to anyone despite it being the most affordable Speedmaster in the catalog. And that's my definition of value. We're not looking for the cheapest watches or the most affordable watches from the various watch brands. Rather, we're looking at the right watch at the right price point. We're looking at watches which compromise on little, offer great value, punch above their weight, and more importantly, have a price tag which sounds digestible in 2025. And just to keep the video interesting, I'm going to try and focus on watches which were either introduced in 2025 or updated in 2025. So that we know that the movement, the bracelet, and everything else about the watch is as modern as the watchmaker intends it to be. And make sure you stick around till the end because the last few watches on this list are, in my opinion, the absolute best value luxury watches you can buy in 2025. In fact, I actually need your opinion in shortlisting between these watches as to which one would actually be the absolute best value luxury watch you think that one can buy in 2025. Now, before we get started on the video, I do want to apologize for the very long delay from my last upload to this video right now. I think it's been nearly a month. There were a couple of reasons for this. The first is, of course, I am transitioning from an Airbus type of aircraft to a Boeing, the Boeing 787 aircraft. So I had a lot of studying to do in the past couple of weeks because I had all my major check rides and examination events for the new aircraft type. The good news is that I passed all of those things, so now I'm officially a Boeing 787 pilot. But this also meant that I had to focus only on the studying part and less on the watches. But just to give you a little bit of a teaser of what's coming next, I did manage to head out a couple of days ago and I checked out the all-new Seiko speed timer. This is going to be the next video that's coming soon. A short teaser of it is somewhere here in the video. I also saw the new Grand Seiko and a couple of other watches. So this is going to be the next video, which is going to come hopefully in within the next few days after this upload. And another reason why this particular video is delayed is because I shot this entire video and then the Geneva Watch Days show was announced. We had a few unexpected surprises at the watch event, so I had to re-record this particular video to do justice to the title of the best value luxury watches you can buy in 2025. You'll see why I had to re-record towards the end of this video, and I think you know what's coming as well. So apologies for all the delay. Here's hoping I'm a little bit more consistent going forward. We start with something pretty easy. This is a watchmaker who has been making high quality timepieces at affordable price segments for a long time now. I am of course talking about Longines, and in 2025, Longines updated the Legend diver with a new white dial option. You can also get the Legend diver in about 10 color and strap variations. You also see the blue and the green dial the way they look in this particular video. What I really like about the Legend diver is its retro look. I think Longines have done a great job in giving this watch a modern yet a very retro inspired look, especially the white dial. Legibility, as you can see, is not an issue at all. You get a nice inner rotating bezel and a 2 o'clock crown. The case diameter is nice and snug at 39 millimeters with a 47 millimeter lug to lug. And I'm inclined to say that the Legend Diver passes off as a great summer watch with all the various dial and color combinations. Yet at the same time, this is also a great dress watch because it does look pretty distinguished, if I can call it that. And let's not forget that with 300 meters of water resistance, this is also a proper dive watch. As far as what's inside, the Legend Diver gets the L888.6 movement, which is based off an ETA 2892, was it? Yeah, ETA 2892 movement, offering 3 days of power reserve. And personally, I think the Beads of Rice bracelet is my preferred look on the Legend Diver, though you can get it with nylon and leather straps as well. And for about $3,500, I think the Legend Diver offers great value at this price segment. And if you are in the sub $4,000 price budget, I think the Legend Diver is worthy of a consideration. Moving up now to Omega, and while I still think that the Speedmaster and the Seamaster are inching up higher in price almost every single year, even Omega note that they need a watch in the entry-level affordable segment, so to speak. And I think this year they kind of demonstrated that they have been thinking about this with the launch, or should I say the relaunch, of the Railmaster. The Railmaster in 2025 is available in 2 dial variants, with or without a stainless steel bracelet. And I think Omega have done a pretty decent job in paying homage to its ancestor. And I know that there's a lot of talk of comparison between the Railmaster and the Aquaterra, which is actually not such a bad thing at all, given that the Aquaterra is priced a notch higher than the Railmaster. For example, the Railmaster gets a similar 38mm case diameter as the Aquaterra. If you opt for a stainless steel bracelet on the Railmaster, you get a similar President style bracelet as the Aquaterra. And similar to the Aquaterra, Omega uses its caliber 88 series movement. I believe it's called the 8804 or the 8806, depending on which version of the Railmaster you pick. There's one with and there's one without the sub-second dial option. And overall, we're looking at about 55 to 60 hours of power reserve. And let's keep in mind that the Railmaster is priced about $1,500 lower than the Aquaterra, so about $5,400. And I think at this price segment, the Railmaster is certainly the value luxury offering from Omega. For our next watch on the list, I'm moving to Tudor, which in 2025 launched, I believe, the hottest summer watches at a surprisingly decent price point. The watch in question is the Tudor Black Bay 54 Lagoon Blue. I'm sure everyone has seen this watch and there's little for me to tell, but here are the highlights anyway. 37mm case size, a beautiful blue color on the dial, making it a unisex watch as well, 200 meters of water resistance, and the MT5400 movement with 70 hours of power reserve. All this on a Jubilee style bracelet at a very reasonable asking price of $4,350. And you can see why there are no images of me showing you this watch in person, because this watch is sold out in all 6 of the Tudor boutiques that I inquired in 2 different countries. Currently, this has been one of their fastest moving products ever, with the watches being sold out almost on the same day that it even arrives. And one of the boutiques told me that usually they get a shipment, it's sold out on the same day. There are no waiting lists, there are no pre-orders, at least officially. And most of the boutiques told me that they actually do not know when the next shipment of the Lagoon Blue actually arrives. So while the Lagoon Blue is technically on this list, I think Tudor have done a brilliant job and they deserve all the success that they are getting with the Lagoon Blue. I thought I would add some alternatives from Tudor just so that we can still keep more options on the table, if that makes any sense. So for me, I think this would be the standard Black Bay, which is available with a black dial priced at $4,000, and then the Black Bay 58, which is essentially the same watch in a 39mm case size and a movement which is COSC certified. And finally, the Black Bay 58 GMT, which is my favorite of the Tudor lineup and is also well priced at $4,700 whereabouts. Next up on the table is Breitling, and if you've been a follower of the channel, you might remember I posted a video a few months ago. It was a short video taking a quick look at the Breitling top time watches which were launched in 2025, taking inspiration from the world of rallying. There was even a special Martini edition or a Martini style watch which they came out with. While those were technically good watches, nothing wrong with them, but at $7,500, I wouldn't describe those watches as being good value for money, so they don't do justice to this particular video. In fact, I think most of Breitling's offerings at the price segments that they're offered in, they're at least 20 to 30% overpriced is what I personally feel. So I'm not a huge fan of Breitling when it comes to a value for money offering. But having said that, I think there is one watch which Breitling still sells, which can kind of count towards the title of this video. The watch in question is the Chronomat GMT, which was launched in 2022. And again, while I was recording this video, Breitling announced that they are doing an NFL partnership where there are going to be multiple color offerings on the Chronomat GMT. These updated colors are already on Breitling's website. You can take a look at them, but they weren't available at the Breitling boutique, especially here in Tokyo. The Chronomat GMT is a great looking watch available in multiple colors, and unlike the Chronomats of the past, this is a wearable 40mm diameter with a lug-to-lug width of 47.4mm. It has a distinct personality and appearance of a Breitling, and the rouleau bracelet looks and feels very premium. Inside is the Breitling 32 movement, which is based off an ETA movement, providing 42 hours of power reserve. All in all, I would still think the Chronomat GMT is the best bargain Breitling even in 2025, with its retail price of about $6,400. Just for reference, the Chronomat GMT here in Japan, especially in Tokyo, is priced at $5,200, and that is without any store discounts. I'm only taking into account the 10% reduction in the taxes that you would not pay as a tourist to Japan. So taking some store discounts into account, I think you could get the Chronomat GMT at $5,000 or a sub $5,000 price point. And for that price point, I think the Chronomat GMT is a great option and something that you should definitely look into. We now come to one of my most favorite watches of 2025, a watch that I had been waiting to check since its reveal at Watches and Wonders in, I believe, March 2025. We're talking about the Grand Seiko SLGB003, the unofficial title holder of the most accurate watch in the world. While the asking price of $9,000 may be considered steep by some, this Grand Seiko has a lot going for it. Starting on the outside, you get a titanium case with a 37mm dial and a lug-to-lug of 44.3mm and just 11.4mm thick. I was pleasantly surprised how light this watch feels once you wear it. It almost feels like you're not wearing a watch at all. You could mistake that you don't have anything on your wrist, and I believe that is down to the titanium case and the titanium bracelet as well. So that $9,000 price is not looking too bad right now. This video unfortunately does not do justice to the dial design since the display watch had protective plastic covering on top, but Grand Seiko have truly done a stellar job with the dial inspired by the ice forests of Japan. And then there is the movement, the new 9R-B2 spring drive movement with a 3-day power reserve and accuracy of plus or minus 20 seconds per year, which can be seen through the sapphire crystal case back, as can the power reserve indicator. I love the fact that Grand Seiko did not hold themselves back while making this watch, yet they seem to have shown some restraint only in terms of pricing, which, like I said, at $9,000 seems perfectly justified for what you're getting at the end of the day. This is a watch which even your friends who probably wear a Rolex or an IWC would have to stop probably ask you if they could take a closer look at your Grand Seiko, and maybe they might have some questions about the decisions that they have made in choosing their watches. No, I'm just kidding, but I think you get my point. This is a truly well-finished product, and I think even the upper echelons of watchmaking would see that Grand Seiko have done a truly stellar job. Now, obviously, this list needs to have a watch from Frederique Constant, the absolute definition of a of a value for money luxury watch brand. And because we are talking about FC over here, I thought I would highlight a moment which every watch enthusiast would find special: the perpetual calendar. And this watch brand actually makes the perpetual calendar quite attainable. In fact, at the Geneva Watch Days just last week, FC updated their perpetual calendar range, and these watches are due to hit boutiques, I believe, in the next couple of months or so. So I couldn't take a look at them right now, but I did manage to take a look at the older perpetual calendar from FC, which was launched, I guess, about 3 years ago and is available for a very attainable price of $8,300 here in Japan. The watch reference number is FC775N4NH6B. And as you can see, it ticks off all the boxes for a perpetual calendar without having an extravagant dial, which, depending on your budget and the kind of person that you are, you may find this unappealing, or you may be very intrigued to know more. Given the retail price of this perpetual calendar from FC, do not expect the same quality of a perpetual calendar from, say, Vacheron Constantin or IWC, because the FC perpetual calendar costs a fraction of these watches. I believe it's 1/10 of a Vacheron Constantin, though the VC is available only in gold cases, but it's still 1/5 of an IWC Ingenieur perpetual calendar. So yeah, I'm not even going to do the math for an AP Royal Oak perpetual calendar, but you get the gist. With respect to how the older perpetual calendar feels, I was very happy with the 41mm case diameter, but in a compact and wearable 45mm lug-to-lug. Legibility is pretty good as well, and overall there is little to complain about once you have accepted that the highlight of this watch is the movement. While the older model that you're seeing right now is powered by the FC775 movement with 38 hours of power reserve, the newer perpetual calendars have been updated to the FC776 with 72 hours of power reserve. The 2025 models are priced at €9,995 for the standard and $29,995 for a limited edition gold case model, which I'm not talking about. But I believe the price has not changed much, which is great. But on the 2025 perpetual calendars, FC has dropped the stainless steel bracelet and is instead offering only, I believe, a calfskin leather strap. But I am hoping to get a closer look at these updated perpetual calendars in the next couple of months or so, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel so that you don't miss out on those updates. To summarize, I think the Frederique Constant perpetual calendar is absolutely what I would describe as a bargain or even a value for money luxury watch offering. The last watch on this list is the reason why I had to re-record this video. Again, this was unveiled at the Geneva Watch Week just a few days ago, so it's yet to hit boutiques, but this is the Tag Heuer Astronomer. At first look, I think this watch looks delicious, and I have been reading some comments about it on the internet. A few people hate it, some people and the majority seem to love it. Count myself as the majority in that case. I'm pleasantly surprised with what Tag Heuer has brought to the table. We see the moonface complication done in a very tasteful manner, with 7 discs tracking the 7 lunar stages across the full 29.5-day cycle. There will be 3 models, with 2 of them being limited editions, but honestly, I fancy the standard model with the stainless steel bracelet the most. The Astronomer is based off the 39mm pre-glass box design, which I'm not complaining about. It'll get a 50-hour power reserve caliber 7 movement, which you might say is an entry-level movement, but then wait until you hear the price. Because at $4,800, dare I say, the Tag Heuer Astronomer has been priced reasonably well. No, honestly, while I am going to make it my top priority to check this watch out when it hits showrooms in October of 2025, I'm sure that the quality is obviously going to be up to the standards of a Tag Heuer. So, $4,800 for a moon phase complication, maybe entry level movement, you could say, but again, I am pleasantly surprised because before the astronomer was announced, my pick for this video from Tag Heuer was going to be the 2025 Carrera Day date, which received its update at the Watches and Wonders show in 2025. They now come with upgraded movements and several design updates. The watch that you're seeing here is the smoky red dial with an opaline finish. All in all, I find little to complain about the entry-level Carreras. I like their no-nonsense design with a burst of color, good finishing and quality, and at a price of $3,700. But for about $1,000 more, you're telling me that you could get a moon phase complication with the Astronomer, which I believe is a much better looking watch, while still maintaining the non-glass box design in a 39mm case diameter. What's the catch? Tag Heuer in 2025 is releasing watches which people want to buy at reasonable and justifiable price points. I am not going to complain, but I'm still waiting for October to see how the Astronomer feels on the wrist. But I think this watch has gotten me very, very excited, like a lot of people from the watch community. But that does bring me to the end of this video, and I think you would agree with me when I say that the watches on this list are perhaps the watches which would make you feel really happy while you're wearing them, yet at the same time you would also feel reasonably happy that you did not go overboard with how much you paid to purchase these watches. Personally, I don't think I can pick any one particular watch, especially between the Grand Seiko SLGB003, the Tag Heuer Astronomer, the Frederique Constant Perpetual Calendar, or the Tudor GMT. I think these four are my personal favorites in this entire list, and it would be very, very difficult to pick just one. They truly represent everything special about wristwatches, while still maintaining a price which is well within the reality of what affordable luxury watches should cost, I think. But I would still be very curious to know from you as to which watch you would pick in this list, especially between the last few examples that I mentioned. Or is there any watch that you would pick which is probably not launched in 2025, launched much before, but you think is worthy of a consideration? Please do let me know in the comments below, and as always, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Take care.